A notion that annoys me a lot is the one that Trump is an outsider that threatens the establishment. I saw this quite a bit in the lead up to the 2024 election online. People saying they're voting for Trump because he's the outsider. I even saw one person in one comment section say, yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Trump personally, but he threatens the establishment, so he still has my vote. And I'm like, what does that even mean? When I think of Trump, I think of, well, besides US president, of course, corrupt business tycoon from New York City. It's not like he was some nobody from some small town in Arkansas or some shit before his first presidential run. He was born into a rich family. His father was an incredibly wealthy real estate developer. He had a silver spoon up his ass all throughout his upbringing, yet I'm supposed to pretend that he has anything in common with regular citizens or even has their best interests in mind. And it's not like you could even give the benefit of the doubt either, because obviously this is not our first rodeo with a Trump presidency. Take his 2017 tax cuts, for example, that is still in effect until next year. From Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, households with incomes in the top 1% will receive an average tax cut of more than $60,000 in 2025, compared to an average tax cut of less than $500 for households in the bottom 60%. We have billionaires who hoard so much wealth for themselves and hardly give anything back to the working class, who, without the working class to exploit, they wouldn't have their billions to begin with. Imagine if we saw some of the wealth that these assholes vacuum up go into things like education, or social security, or infrastructure. You know, things that would actually benefit regular people who are not multi-billion-dollar CEOs. Millions of people in this country drown in medical debt, which is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in this country, because their insurance company denied their claim. And that's why no one mourned the death of Brian Thompson, because everyone recognizes him as a leech who made over $10 million a year profiting off of people suffering and people dying. And yet so many voters in this country think Trump is gonna swoop in and save the day and stick it to these corporations and these billionaires who exploit working class people, which is how they make their exorbitant amount of money in the first place, which, no, Trump serves this class of people because he was part of this class of people. I don't care about how uncouth he presents himself. He was a reality TV show host. He has an extensive media background, so no shit, he knows how to brand himself and appeal to people. That's all superficial bullshit to get votes out of people at the end of the day. We know he can talk the talk, but he sure as shit can't walk the walk. Trump's cabinet picks for his upcoming administration is also stacked with billionaires like Linda McMahon, worth $3 billion. She's going to head the Department of Education. Jared Isaacman, worth $1.7 billion and the CEO of a credit card processing company, and he is set to lead NASA. Howard Lutnick, worth $1.7 billion, who is going to be the Secretary of Commerce, and he is also the head of Cantor Fitzgerald, a bank. Doug Burgum, worth $1.1 billion, formerly the executive of Great Plains Software. He was also part of Microsoft at one point. He is going to head the Department of the Interior, which manages federal lands such as national parks, for example. And then you have Elon and Vivek running Doge, but that's not even an official government agency, so we'll see how seriously Trump takes that. This makes Trump's incoming administration have the total net worth of approximately $359 billion. Do you think any of these people, some of whom head banks and credit card companies, have your best interests in mind? There's a reason why billionaires overwhelmingly support Trump, because they know he'll keep their taxes low and enact policies that favor them and corporations they may run. Elon Musk is literally the richest man on earth and was loud and proud regarding his fervent support of Trump. And I don't care how Elon postures himself either. You don't get any more establishment than being the richest fucking person on earth and rallying behind a presidential candidate because you know that he'll favor you and your rich buddies over regular citizens. And this is so frustrating because it's not like Trump's background or his policies enacted during his first term that favor the 1%, or his cabinet picks, or him having overwhelming support among the billionaire class are these facts you have to dig deep for to find out. No, they're right in your fucking face, and that you want to pretend that this guy is going to fight for you and other people of your stature. This is the fundamental issue with voters. They like hearing what they want to hear. They rally behind a candidate that tells them things they want to hear, but they never do bare minimum research to find out that that candidate is full of shit. They vote based on vibes and nothing more. That's why you saw a lot of Trump voters like a day after the the election, find out about his tariff plans only then, and then we're like, oh shit, I don't want to pay more for imported goods. Maybe I shouldn't have voted for Trump. You didn't see any substantial change under Trump's first term, and you're not going to see any substantial change under his second term. I mean, for fuck's sake, he also stacked his cabinet with neocons like Marco Rubio, for example. He is going to be the head of Secretary of State, which, yeah, so anti-establishment, a Zionist handling foreign affairs. But Kamala wasn't an anti-establishment candidate either. Yes, I am well aware. Yes, both prominent Democrat and Republican politicians serve the same billionaire class, serve corporations rather than their constituency. But the difference is, I never pretended that Kamala was going to be this candidate that was going to bring about sweeping change if elected. She's a corporate Dem centrist who ran to the right on issues such as immigration during her campaign. I was just like, well, I don't like Kamala as a candidate, but I would still prefer her to win over Trump. But alas, that did not happen, and here we have a president-elect who postures himself as anti-establishment and has duped so many idiots in this country into thinking he is anti-establishment because he writes mean tweets and doesn't pretend to be professional, when in reality he is just as establishment as most other politicians are in this country. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.